You open your phone before you even get out of bed. You scroll past the Horoscope app without reading it. You tell yourself you don't believe in any of this. But somewhere on this planet, right now, someone just picked a wedding date down to the exact minute. Someone just delayed a business deal because the timing felt wrong. So which one of you has it right? The real answer is far stranger than yes or no. Astrology, especially the Hindu and Tamil tradition called Jyotisha, was never built to predict your future. It was built to read time itself. And once you understand what it's actually measuring, the question real or fake stops making sense. Think about the sky on the exact night you were born. The sun sat in one zone, the moon sat in another. Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn, each one occupied a precise position. Ancient astronomers in India tracked these positions with painstaking accuracy, long before telescopes existed. They called these 9 points the Navagrahas, not gods exactly, more like forces, each one assigned a personality of its own. The sun represents your core identity, your ego, your will to exist. The moon governs your mind and your emotions, the parts of you that shift hour to hour. Mars is your drive, your temper, the fire that makes you act. Mercury shapes how you think and speak. Jupiter expands you, your wisdom, your luck, your growth. Venus rules love, beauty, what you're drawn to. Saturn is the slow teacher, the planet of discipline and consequence. And 2 shadow points, Rahu and Ketu, represent desire and detachment, the pull toward the world and the pull away from it. Why does any of this matter to you specifically? Because the moment you were born, this entire configuration locked into place. Indian astrologers call it your Janma Kundali, your birth chart. Your exact date, time, and place of birth get mapped onto a wheel of 12 zones. The West names these zones Pisces, Capricorn, Aries, Scorpio. Tamil tradition calls them Meenam, Makaram, Mesham, Rishabham. Different names, same sky. You've probably done this yourself without even calling it astrology. Checked someone's zodiac sign before a first date. Wondered if a Scorpio and a Gemini really stand a chance. Long before dating apps quietly added a birth chart filter, Tamil families were already running their own version, called Jathagam Parutham, comparing 2 horoscopes side by side before agreeing to a marriage. Here's where it gets believable. If you were born under Capricorn, ancient texts describe you as patient, ambitious, quietly stubborn. Pisces, by contrast, gets described as dreamy, emotional, easily absorbed into other people's feelings. Read those descriptions and something strange happens. You probably nodded along, maybe even felt seen. That feeling has a name. In 1948, psychologist Bertram Forer gave students a personalized personality reading. It was the same vague paragraph handed to everyone. Most rated it highly accurate. Decades later, French statistician Michel Gauquelin dug through birth records of thousands of doctors and athletes, searching for patterns between planetary positions and profession. A few correlations showed up. Skeptics like researcher Jeffrey Dean spent years testing whether trained astrologers could match birth charts to real people better than random chance. Mostly, they couldn't. So is it fake? Maybe not in the way you think. The oldest Indian text on this subject, the Vedanga Jyotisha, dates back nearly 3,000 years, written purely to track time for rituals and harvests. Later texts, like the Surya Siddhanta, refined planetary calculations with startling mathematical precision. And the Brihat Parashara Horashastra, attributed to the sage Parashara, never frames planets as fortune tellers. It frames them as a map of karma, consequences already in motion from actions long before you were born. Tamil tradition adds its own layer through the Siddhars, sage scientists like Agathiyar, who treated the stars as one part of a much larger science of the self. This is the part most people miss. Vedic astrology was never separate from Hindu philosophy. It sits inside the same worldview as karma and dharma. The planets don't control you like puppet strings. They describe tendencies, patterns you're born leaning toward, not chains you're locked into. A Mars-heavy chart might lean you toward conflict, but whether you channel that into anger or into courage stays entirely yours to choose. That's the real answer. Astrology was never really about predicting whether you'll get the job on Tuesday. It was a multi-thousand-year attempt to give people language for their own nature, a mirror dressed up as a map of the sky. Maybe that's why it survives, not because the planets are pulling invisible strings, but because somewhere between superstition and self-understanding, people found a tool that made them feel less random, less alone in a universe that otherwise offers no explanations at all. So tonight, when you scroll past that horoscope again, you might still tell yourself you don't believe in it. But maybe the question was never, is it real? Maybe the only question that ever mattered is whether it helped you understand yourself a little better than you did this morning.